Hey, the pimento rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
Group chats are sacred, you know?
Yes, they are. Can't talk about the group chats.
Then you have to start a new one when you have to kick somebody out.
Yeah. What's that meme? It's every group chat has a smaller group chat
a
within the
side
group
group
chat without all the annoying people.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you think your group chat doesn't have that, I got some bad news for you.
Exactly.
You're annoying.
All right.
I'm not in any small group chats. What
Yeah,
does that mean?
exactly. None of my group chats have that. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
You
mine are
must
all
be the
like,
annoying one.
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
I believe it.
All right.
I try not to be in. I just text one-on-one people now.
Yeah.
I don't need to be in any
They'll
group
get you in
chats.
trouble. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to censor that.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blenders. I'm the host, Travis Harless. To support this podcast, go check out our friends at Slick Sleeves Syndicate. It's just a t-shirt company.
Fire merch.
Today's guest is Matt Haywood. Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? Talk to us about your law enforcement career. Where'd you work? What were your assignments? Stuff like that.
Yeah, man. So grew up in the greater LA area, moved out, or my parents moved us out from there up to Calaveras County. So, a little foothill community just east of, the 99 corridor through here. So I kind of got brought up through all that. And when I was in high school, just got introduced to the Law Enforcement Explorer program with Haywood Patrol, which I just kind of fell in love with the idea of becoming a law enforcement officer. So graduated high school, day I turned 18, I moved out to Merced County, started dispatching for the Livingston Police Department, and a couple years there, went to Atwater PD, started dispatching there. And while I was at Atwater PD, I put myself through the Modular Academy,
Okay.
graduated that, and ended up out on the streets in 2005. So,
Okay. So how old were you when you went from being a dispatcher to being an officer?
so I was 22 when I graduated the academy. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I was 22 when I went. I was 23 when I graduated. 22 when I started. Cool. So then you started at 22 as an officer at Atwater PD,
Yep.
which is up in Merced County.
Yeah. So just went through F2. Well, I had pretty much most of my field training already done while I was a dispatcher, because they had actually brought me on as a reserve officer too.
Okay.
So I was kind of doing 3 roles during that time period. I was working graveyards on the weekends for dispatch, and then Wednesdays and Fridays and all day Saturdays I was going through the academy, and then on some of my extra spare time I was able to go on some ride-alongs as
a reserve.
as a reserve. So I was able to get most of my FTO training done there.
Nice.
So once I finally graduated, I got out and I had basically a lateral style FTO period.
Yeah.
And I was out on the streets solo within about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So,
How big is how many sworn is Atwater PD?
oh God, I can't tell you right now. I don't know. It's been 10 years since I've been there.
Yeah.
But when I was working, we had about 16 sworn out on the streets. We had a small detective unit of 5 officers. We had 4 sergeants, one of which was an admin sergeant, and
Yeah.
then a couple of corporals. But yeah, pretty small
And some
department.
command staff's probably about 30 total, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it was
30 to
probably
40.
about 32 to 34.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I think they're about the same staffing right now.
Yeah. And it's about 30,000 in the town, right?
Yeah.
That's about right. About 1 per 1,000.
Yeah.
It's usually what most places run.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, what were some of the gigs that you had, assignments you worked?
Well, majority of my career was patrol. During that, I was helped kind of revamp the bicycle patrol unit that had died down. I did a lot with the traffic unit. One of my goals when I was a police officer was actually get on the motor unit.
Okay.
But
so bike patrol, you guys
like
had
bicycle patrol.
was that a full-time gig, or was it
No,
like a
part-time.
part-time?
So mainly special events,
Yeah.
or if we were overstaffed on the weekend, like if we had 6 bodies running patrol cars and we didn't have enough cars,
Yeah.
they'd put 2 of us out on bicycles on a Friday night and go
Yeah.
work all the gang neighborhoods and stuff. So
Yeah. No, bike patrol's a legit thing.
I
It's
loved
like,
it.
it sounds, it can sound kind of silly, like a bicycle, but like, did you ever go to like any training courses on the actual riding?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kicked my ass.
Yeah, no, like for real. You think like, oh, riding a bicycle, but like my wife went to one of those training classes down south, and it was like a 40-hour class,
Yeah.
and she said it's the same thing. It was like the hardest training she'd ever
Yeah,
done.
very
They had like all
physically.
kinds of people like legit failed. They didn't
Mhm.
pass. One of the guys like fractured his elbow. Like, yeah,
Oh, dude, I came back with scars
Yeah.
on my chins from the pedals, and just
Yeah.
my pants that I was wearing were bloody just from the pedals hitting my shins the entire time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty crazy, like how special, like the specialized skills you need to ride a
Yeah.
bicycle in
Yeah.
those conditions.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's ride up a staircase and see how you do. It's not very
It's
easy.
one of those things you don't think of, but it's actually like legit really hard to do.
Yeah.
And then, so you said that, yeah, you were in a motor as well.
No, I was one of my goals was to get into the motor unit.
Mhm.
But throughout my career, like I said, couple injuries here and there.
Mhm.
2009, so 3.5 years after I started patrol, I was responding to a armed robbery that just occurred.
Yeah.
Um, and while I was driving, I negotiated a turn in a freaking intersection, and um, lost control of the car and went head on into an oak tree.
Oh, nice.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
Had an Explorer with me that day, so
Huh.
that was even more fun with administrative stuff.
What kind of cars were you in? Crown Vics?
So my entire career I was rolling a Crown Vic.
Yeah.
We didn't get what was it, the Taurus?
Yeah.
They came out with the Taurus shortly after I retired. So
Yeah. So two-wheel drive.
2-wheel drive. Actually, I started my career driving the old White Rabbit, man, the Caprice.
Okay.
95 miles an hour. That thing was floating around like a cloud. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like you could be doing 100 miles an hour down the freeway and go 90 degrees on the steering wheel, and the car's still traveling straight because it's just floating.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I rolled a Crown Vic my entire career.
Hmm. Yeah, they don't handle as well. Going around the corners.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I did that. That was in 2009.
did you guys have like a traffic division for an agency that size?
Yeah, so we had one guy,
Uh-huh.
one guy that was motors.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Army
I,
of one.
Legit.
I love the dude, Scott. If you're listening to this, I love you, but you were a fair weather rider.
Yeah. Trying to get him booted on. I need that motorcycle.
73 degrees,
Yeah.
Slight breeze, partly cloudy is when you saw the motor in the city of Atwater.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, awesome guys over
Well,
there.
those guys are like in the summertime. That's a miserable job. I
I
mean,
bet.
just out there cooking.
Yeah.
You'll
no-
see ours. They'll go to like one of the local convenience stores, and they'll let them into the
beer fridge.
The beer fridge, yeah,
Yes.
and they'll just
Yeah.
go hang out in there for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like in like July. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually got pictures of me on motorcycle trips getting into a freaking ice box.
Yeah.
So, had that was 2009. Had a back surgery in 2009 for a blown disc.
And so you blew a disc in that crash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that was a L5S1 Fusion.
Mhm.
Went back to patrol. Didn't have any issues. I think they only gave me like a 15% disability rating.
Yeah.
And then, rolled the rest of my career, did a little bit of work with like the gang task force, helping them do search warrants, and the SWAT teams a couple times.
Mhm.
Um,
Is that run by Merced County?
yeah.
So
So
they have a task force,
multi-agency
and they
task
grab
force.
they grab officers from all the
Yeah.
surrounding
Yeah.
departments.
Yeah. So
Is that a full-time assignment or is it like a
no,
part-time gig?
The gang task force is a full-time assignment. The regional SWAT team was collateral
Yeah.
duty. So
Most SWAT teams are collateral duties. People don't
Yeah.
really realize that. It's very few agencies have full-time teams.
right.
Yeah, you got to be pretty big. Like our agency's at over 500, and we're still a part-time team. So,
Mhm.
but so the gang, you were on the regional like gang task force in Merced County.
I wasn't an official member, but a lot of the
Yeah.
like our department guys that were a part of the task force were always leaning on me and a couple of the other
Yeah.
guys to assist them with all their search warrants.
More
and
of a
stuff like that.
prospect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hang
yeah,
around
yeah.
prospect.
Oh, hang around, there you go.
Absolutely. Yeah, love it. So yeah, I did that, man, and then probably the best thing that I ever did in my career was become a school resource officer.
Okay.
everybody thinks is, that's the place that guys go to retire. Unfortunately, that was my story too. But
but not on purpose.
but not on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Just, I always told myself if I could change one person's life, that my career was worth it.
Yeah.
And I have letters in my office at home now from students saying, that, they were contemplating suicide until I had talks with them. And then,
Yeah.
actually one of the students from the high school, his name's Austin. He was always known as the rowdy redhead, the redheaded stepchild of the campus, and
Mhm.
was always defiant to all the staff and stuff like that. And so I was able to get a good relationship with him, and shit. Now he's like my adopted son, man. He's I trust him to watch my house when
Nice.
I'm not there, and my kids call him brother, and it's just little stories like that that just made it 100% worth everything that I went through.
As an SRO, were you assigned to like one specific school, or is it like multiple schools? Or how did
Yeah,
that work?
so when I was there, we had an elementary school SRO. We had an SRO at each high school.
Mhm.
We had one SRO for the middle school, and then we had the shithead school.
Yeah, the
where all
continuation
yeah,
school.
continuation school. So we had an SRO there. So I was assigned to Buhat Colony High School. I was there for 3.5 years.
So you had like sounds like what 5 or 6 different SROs?
Yeah,
For the one department.
yeah.
That's a lot of resources for. That's
Yeah, well, when the school district pays, 80% of that officer's salary
that makes
plus all
sense.
the overtime, it was a pretty
Makes
good
sense.
gig, man.
Yeah. So then that's a full-time assignment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get to work good hours. Not working
Yeah,
midnights
man.
anymore.
School hours. If school wasn't in, you always had the opportunity to work patrol. So a lot of times, I'd start work at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be done with work at 3.
Yeah.
So I'd call the sergeant like at 2 o'clock. Hey, you need any bodies for patrol? And I'd go work 2 hours. So I was literally getting anywhere between 12 to 20 hours of overtime a week.
Yeah.
So building up all the comp time and vacation time and stuff like that, and summer school hits or summertime or winter breaks and stuff, you never saw me at the department, and I was able to
Yeah.
take 2-3 weeks off all the time. There's no issue.
Yeah, that's good. So did you what shifts did you work before going to be an SRO?
I hated days.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it was, man.
Yeah.
I'd wake up in the morning for day shift, and my stomach would be all shitty, and
Yeah.
I'd be in the office 90% of the time taking a shit.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but to be honest with you, like majority of my career, I absolutely love the swing shift. So our swing shift over there was 4:45 in the afternoon to 2:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
So we literally worked from 4:45 to 9 o'clock when graveyards came in. We'd go have lunch. We get back out on the streets at 10 o'clock, and it'd be a proactive shift. No call taking unless graveyards was tied up with something until
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah.
we get a drunk, and then we'd pawn them off to the graveyard unit to transport, and we get to go home.
That's a common trajectory. I think as a younger guy, you wanted to work like the late swing shift or the midnight shift, and then you kind of sort of burn out in a way.
Yeah,
And then come back around to, like you said, becoming a school resource officer. Maybe at the beginning of your career, you're like, I don't want to go work at a school, like I want
Right.
to be out here chasing people.
what's nice? It was nice about the
I
way
want car chases and explosions.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that was nice about the way we had the school set up was I was pretty much my own supervisor. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a supervisor, but I was allotted to do whatever I wanted. I could open and close my own investigations.
Yeah.
If I wanted to lean on the detective unit to help out, I could. But for the most part, I mean, I had free reign to do whatever I want over
Mhm.
there. So it was nice. It was, like I said, but I mean, just seeing the kids grow up and actually still, having communication with a lot of those kids that were in school when I was there is, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
And that's like the maturing, because I was kind of alluding to earlier, it's like that process of starting off just wanting to run and gun and work midnights. And then as you get a little bit older, you start to get a little tired, and then end up working on assignments you would think that you would never want to do, and end up like, wow, this is actually really nice. I
Yeah.
actually really enjoy this.
Yeah.
And it kind of wakes you up a little bit. So then, how long did you do SRO for?
So I was there for about 3.5 years. Yeah. So in, God, it was March of 2014. I had literally it was a Friday. It was a Friday afternoon. Was leaving the high school. I was in my marked unit. 30 seconds. Well, it was about a couple minutes after I left the campus to go home in my take home car. I called dispatch, hey, I'm off duty. Don't call me type thing. And it was about 30 seconds after I made that radio call that a PG&E truck blew a red light and T-boned me in the passenger seat.
Oh, man.
So pushed me about 100 feet, spun me around. I came to rest against an a PG&E electrical control box, actually. Didn't think anything of it. Had to crawl out of the car. Got out. The PG&E car was sitting in the middle of the intersection. Signaled him for him to pull over. So he pulled over about, I don't know, probably about 150 feet from where I was standing, and started approaching him to make sure that they were okay, and I started getting the felony stare
Yeah.
in the mirror, and kind of, obviously our senses kind of come up, and as I get almost probably about, I don't know, maybe 10 feet from the vehicle, he fled. He took off.
Really?
Yeah, in a marked PG&E truck.
Sounds stolen.
Yeah, so I'm,
I mean, I don't know the outcome of the story. I'm just guessing here.
yeah,
So wait, you get T-boned by a PG&E truck,
Yeah.
and you're able to just get out and like walk over there?
yeah,
Oh wow.
yes.
I don't. Yeah.
I mean, it was luckily the vehicle hit me in the passenger B pillar of the unit.
Yeah.
And there was, I think they measured like 14 and a half inches of penetration in the car.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then knocking you said 100 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
That's
lot.
insane.
That's a big change of direction and a lot
Yes.
of stuff going on.
Yeah. I think CHP estimated his speed at time of impact was like 30,
Yeah. I don't know.
So,
I'd be able to just
30
get
mile
out
an hour
and
broadside.
Well, it's just a
start-
lot of weight too, though.
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know if I'd be able to get out of the car and start, enforcing the law at that point.
Well, it's, yeah, I'm obviously yelling explicitives, the entire
Yeah.
time. But yeah, I started seeing the felony stare, and I got, a couple feet from the PG&E car, and he took off.
Mhm.
He took off. So I started the cavalry coming and stuff like that. Obviously my adrenaline's, spiked and those type of things. So what did I start doing? I started kicking all the debris out of the roadway, the glass and stuff with my feet. And shortly after that, I was probably, I couldn't tell you the exact timeline, but probably within about, 3 or 4 minutes after that guy took off, my corporal said that he found him, broke down the road about a mile and a half down the road, claimed that he had a seizure and he had no recollection of
Yeah.
the collision, although his license plate was literally embedded in the passenger door of my car.
Yeah.
And at that time, I collapsed to the ground. So, ambulance gets there, C-spine, the whole thing. A couple weeks afterwards, and ended up being paralyzed for 6 weeks. Had 4 back surgeries,
Oh wow.
bunch of spinal fusions, and was forced to retire. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty crazy.
Wow. So you were paralyzed like your whole body, or what was it?
Just lower.
Mhm.
It was a partial paralyzation. It was mainly my or it was my right leg at the time. And then after some of the revisions of my surgeries and stuff, I have more issues with my left side now. Go figure.
Gotcha.
Right. So you just try to fix one problem and then create more.
Dang. So how many surgeries did you say?
So in total, throughout my law enforcement career, I had 5. I had
Wow.
5 back surgeries.
Wow.
But the most recent stint was, 4. So we had the initial surgery in 2009, and then in 2015 I had the other 4. So, and those 4 surgeries occurred within a period of about 5 months.
Wow. So what was the recovery like for that?
It was kind of crazy, man. Like the first surgery, well, I guess it'd be my second surgery. But I went in significant pain. I was dragging my legs. I was having to use a cane the entire time just to walk, commodes, all the kind of, shit that we see. And had my surgery. Within about 4 or 5 hours of me waking up for anesthesia, I got up, started walking around the hospital. I was released in 3 days. Obviously, they're cutting everything open, having to wear a back brace and all that kind of stuff. It was hard, but on the day after Valentine's Day in 16, I got the stomach flu and I started throwing up. And when I was thrown up, it caused the cage to slip out of my spine, and
Oh, man.
I ended up being paralyzed again on the couch and going through the workman's comp system, basically talking to my attorneys and the doctors while I can't even move on the couch, for about 5 weeks before workman's comp approved a second surgery. And then I had a couple more after that just to get me back up and running. So it was a rough recovery, but I mean, look at me now, right? I'm up and running around and,
Yeah.
running, gunning, riding motorcycles all over the place. And,
Yeah.
you know,
So crash happened in 2014, and
Yeah.
then you were officially retired in
yeah, so I
2015.
haven't put on a uniform badge or anything since that collision.
Yeah.
But my official retirement date was August 1st of 15, so it'll be 10 years here coming up in a
Yeah.
couple weeks.
Almost 10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. And so then after that, what happened? What was next for you?
So, if anybody remembers, kind of looking back, at that time of, history with law enforcement, we started getting Jefferson, right?
Mhm.
Jefferson, Missouri. We had the Dallas, Texas murder
Mhm.
of the police officers and stuff. So I was in a very, very dark place, like
Yeah.
very dark. Like all I wanted to do was get off my couch and go back on patrol, but obviously I couldn't do that. Um, so talking to my pastor and a couple of people, just trying to get my mind right. My doctors finally said, hey, what are you doing? It's like, well, you told me I can't work. Well, no, he said you just can't be a cop anymore, you can go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So started working at a local gun shop up there in Atwater, and did everything from basic sales to doing all the ATF DOJ paperwork.
Yep.
Started getting into the firearms instruction part of it, and was there from 2016 to 2019 when I decided to open up my own training business.
Okay.
And so now I teach for 12 different law enforcement agencies in the county for or in the state, for CCW stuff, and home-based firearms dealer, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
still in the industry, but for the most part, just being a retired cop, trying to keep myself busy.
Okay.
So
So you run your own gun store.
So it's home based, right? So
Yeah.
I don't have a retail storefront or anything. Everything I do is all special orders. So,
Mhm.
one of my students or somebody calls me up and goes, hey, I want this. Cool. Well, it's in stock with my vendor.
Yeah.
I'll send you an invoice if you like the price, pay for it, and I'll let you know when it gets here. So I don't inventory anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who are you when you do the trainings? Like who's the target audience or whatever? The specific people that you're training, the actual officers and the agencies. Or?
So I mean, I'm still post certified as an instructor. I
Mm.
still have my NRA law enforcement certification and stuff. But when I started getting into it, I wanted to more focus on the civilian aspect of it.
Yeah.
I have, I've worked with Glock before. I've had Glock come out and do a couple of their Glock operator courses and stuff like that. But for the most part, I really enjoy just the basic fundamentals, teaching somebody the basic fundamentals, getting them started off right, rather than having them come in with a bunch of bad habits. And
Yeah.
every other CCW holder, they don't shoot their gun for 2 years until they have to go back to that training class. And that's kind of where I stepped in, was like, hey, let's get that fundamental training going, and that consistent training and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
So they do the fundamentals, and then is that part of the CCW class, or is that like a precursor to the CCW class, or how does that
Well,
work?
here in California, right? There's really no precursors to
Yeah.
it. You just, you got to go, give stool samples and hair samples and urine samples and all that shit just
Yeah.
to try to get your permit.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, people just, you apply online for your CCW permit, and then whatever county you're applying for will provide you
A list of
vendors
vendors. Yeah.
that they can go to. And, obviously with my law enforcement background, I have a pretty good relationship with a lot of the local counties from where I'm at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just get the phone calls and people call me up and we do their CCW classes. And
Is there like a state mandated type of training, or maybe a number of hours, or is it on the vendor themselves, or how does
yeah,
that
so
work?
when I first started, it was an 8-hour initial class,
Mhm.
right? You can come in, just do basic pistol, orientation, talk about the laws and storage requirements and safe handling. And then the initial was a 4-hour legal update and live fire qualification, right?
Is it every year?
Every other year. Yeah, every
Okay,
2
so every 2 years.
years.
So you come in, you do an 8-hour class, you get certified, and then it's 2 years. You come back, you have to do
Right.
another 4-hour class.
Yeah. So, but in January 1st of 2024,
Hmm.
the state passed Senate Bill 2, which completely changed the landscape of CCW. So now, your initial application for your CCW, the course is actually 16 hours, and your renewal is now 8 hours.
Hmm.
So, that put a lot of struggle, trying to, okay, now I have to reserve a range facility for 2 days and not just one. So, and then they also changed the requirements of being a CCW instructor for the state of California. So a
course.
lot of instructors, there's about 80% of instructors that lost the ability to teach CCW in the state of California,
Yeah.
until they were able to get some of the other certifications that the state wanted. And a lot of those certifications were pretty much impossible for anybody to get unless you had the law enforcement background.
Huh.
So,
So California made it a lot harder to legally get and possess a gun, but
shocking, isn't it?
they made it real easy to get fentanyl or meth, though.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
get that easy.
And needles
Yeah, give those away for free.
Yeah.
and Norcan.
So, you know, but yeah, a lot of the CCW instructors out of the state, they're starting to pick back up and get those certifications and
Okay.
stuff. And
What are some of the certifications, if you don't mind? You have to
so
go
like
super deep into detail.
yeah, so post, right? So post law enforcement firearms instructor, NRA law enforcement instructor, Bureau of Security Investigative Services, if you're a firearms instructor for them. And that was literally the only three.
Uh-huh.
Now, recently they changed and they added a couple extras. So like you could take the California Rifle Pistol Association instructor course now, and that'll qualify you to teach CCW. You can take the NRA Insight if you are an NRA basic pistol instructor.
Mhm.
You can take the can't remember what it's called. It's like fundamentals outside the home class, safety outside the home class.
Yeah.
And once you get certified as the instructor there, then you can apply for your California CCW instructor certification. But it's not just having a certificate on the wall. Like we have to do live fire qualifications too, just to have that certification for the state of California.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
which is kind of a joke. The
Yeah.
qualifications kind of,
Not difficult.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
What's the qualification? Is it just like 10 rounds? and like
No, I have it on my phone. I ain't gonna pull it out, but it's
We'll get into it.
let's just put it this way: if you take a basic pistol class, you should be able to
Yeah.
to pass that qualification. The only thing that hangs a lot of people up is the time element.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, there's one qualification round in that course of fire that's like over 60 seconds to fire 10 rounds.
Or-
It's yeah,
that sounds pretty good.
right.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
After this, we'll talk about our age. You'll like it. Anyway, so you've been doing that since.
So I opened up my own training business in 2019.
Gotcha.
I left that gun store in 2020, which I left 2 weeks before COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so startup business owner that requires personal interaction
Yeah.
With people.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I really didn't actually get back to work doing things for about 7 or 8 months after that before I could actually start teaching people and people started realizing the scam that was going on.
Yeah.
But
From
so
Big Mask.
Some realize sooner than others.
yeah. So in the meantime, between that, I was doing some executive protection work. I worked with the NFL.
Okay.
You know, worked a couple of the Super Bowls over the years.
Cool.
You know, just doing those type of things. Just again, trying to keep myself busy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about Route 91.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was that? And when was it and where was it for those who have forgotten or don't remember?
So
the
yeah,
specifics?
Route 91 was a 3-day country concert festival in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh. It's 2017.
2017. Yeah. The famous Route 91 shooting that everybody talks about was on October 1st, which was a Sunday. I had been there the last, obviously the entire time. Yeah, that was a crazy thing. Like no training in law enforcement would ever give you the comfort to be involved in a situation like that. It was pretty ridiculous.
And so the shooter, is it Christopher Paddock? Is his name? Is that right?
Yeah, Paddock. Stephen Paddock. I
Stephen
think.
Paddock.
Yeah.
Sorry for any Christophers out there. And they still haven't decided what the motive on that was, right?
Well, there's too many law enforcement agencies, too many chiefs, not enough Indians, and
Yeah.
everyone wanted to pass the buck. And yeah, I mean that's.
I've attended a debrief about the incident. But what was it? It was about 10,000 rounds he fired. Is that correct?
That's what they said. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
And it was how many dead? It was the deadliest mass shooting. And
58.
58
Yeah.
killed and like 400 and something wounded, right?
Yeah, but see, that's the crazy thing is that of the 58 that died, not all 58 died of gunshot wounds.
Oh, really?
Right. I mean,
Probably some trample deaths in there.
Yeah, there was a bunch of trample deaths. There was people getting hit by cars.
Yeah.
Suicides are included in that now too.
Really?
Yeah. So they're
during the incident.
PTSD suicides
Oh,
are
I
being
got you.
counted back towards that event now. So
Okay.
but yeah, that was
Wikipedia has the death count up to 60 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so 60 killed and like 450-ish injured, something like that.
Wounding 413 and injured approximately 867.
Oh, wounding, gotcha. So struck
Yeah.
by gunfire, but then additional people that were injured in other ways.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he was. So some of the specifics. So you guys are out like in a concert venue, and he's shooting from a distance away on like a high
Elevated position
elevated
in a hotel
position.
room. Yeah.
This is the
The Mandalay Bay.
Mandalay Bay. I didn't want
Yeah.
to say the wrong hotel, but he's in the Mandalay Bay, breaks out one of the windows from his suite that he's in, and then he had approximately like 20 rifles in that room.
Yeah.
And
I know I've seen the pictures, and some pictures are like 5 rifles, some are like 50 something rifles.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they were the controversy was the bump stock. And you being
Right.
a firearms guy on the legal
Yeah.
side,
Yeah.
tell us about what's a bump stock.
So, well, it depends on who you ask, right? What
Okay.
news media outlet? Which one would you like me to favor? Right, left,
The normal
truth?
person's.
Oh, a normal
How
person.
about
Yeah, a
that?
reasonable person.
Yeah. So basically, a bump stock just replaces your standard stock on an AR platformed rifle. I mean, they make them for different firearm platforms as well. But literally, it's a sliding stock that goes back and forth on the buffer tube, which allows you to quote unquote bump
To
fire
bump fire. And
that
what's
firearm. Which
explain bump firing to us?
so I'm bump fire to me, I never get to play with those things anymore, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, basically, the recoil of the rifle's causing your finger. If you rest your finger at a stacked position, it bumps that trigger, and under recoil, forward pressure on that bump stock or on the fore end, right? And under recoil, it's just bumping that trigger every single time. But operating under recoil, it's pretty simple to stop by lifting your finger or stop pulling forward on the handguard, and the gun stops firing.
Yeah, so I guess in layman terms, it makes a semi-automatic weapon appear to be
Replicate.
replicate or appear to be firing at like an automatic weapon.
Right.
So semi-autos, when you pull the trigger once, it fires once. You release the trigger, pull the trigger again. So you have to every pull of the trigger
Right.
causes the weapon to fire, whereas an automatic one pull and hold causes it to continue to fire until it either runs out of ammunition or is a malfunction.
But what's crazy is everybody says, oh, bump fire, it shoots just as fast as a fully automatic weapon. No, rate of fire is about 40% of a fully automatic
Yeah.
sear. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, so essentially and you can bump fire also without even having a bump stock.
Right.
Some guys are talented to do it. Essentially, they're just holding your trigger finger in a fixed position, pulling the weapon forward, and then when it fires, the recoil of it causes the weapon to come back, which resets the trigger, and that
Exactly.
forward pressure that you're exuding on the gun causes it to fire again. So
Right.
it's the recoil and holding the trigger in a fixed position, which is actually causing it to fire, and it fires rapidly, so
Right.
it can be confused
Yeah, the
as
bump stock was just literally used to facilitate that without having to have a freaking stick as a finger.
yeah.
So
So he's got like 20-ish rifles that are equipped with bump stocks.
right.
He's at like, I don't know what floor he was on. It was above the 20th, 30th floor, something like
Yeah,
that, way
like
up.
28th or something like that.
Yeah, and he's bump firing from this busted out window of the Mandalay Bay down. I think he was about 400 yards from the venue, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a pretty significant distance.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's not picking out individual people in the crowd that he's shooting at.
Right. Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people are like, well, did you know it was gunfire?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I was, obviously as a law enforcement officer, we know what gunfire sounds like all the
Yeah.
time. But I'll be honest, like we'll start, like the first thing, like when you get there, when we got to the venue, you know, I don't like to go, well, let's walk into the venue, let's go, souvenir shopping, let's go get shit faced drunk and stuff right now. I was one of those guys that always walked around. Right.
Mhm.
So kind of walked around the vendor. Okay. Hey, there's a good beer booth. Hey, there's a serving alcohol, $70 for an old fashioned.
Yeah.
I mean, ridiculous. But as I'm walking around, I started noticing that the entire venue was, it was enclosed by 8-foot chain link fence.
Yeah.
That 8-foot chain link fence, every single one was zip tied together. That's
Yeah.
how it was secured.
Yeah.
Okay. So, throughout the concert, obviously that kind of keeps in mind, but, kind of found our spot that we wanted to be in the entire concert, and, happened to be about a 30-second walk to the beer garden, So on Saturday or on Sunday when this happened, I was sitting there at the time with my wife and a couple friends, and I got up, and just like a good guy would do, you'd go to the beer gardens, and he gets 4 beers for one person himself. Right.
Yeah.
And as I'm trying to straddle 4 beers in my hand, I heard a single gunshot.
Yeah.
Now at the time, I didn't really recognize it immediately as a gunshot.
Yeah. And from
you know,
400 yards away, a single
right.
gunshot could be anything.
So, I mean, you think about, acoustics and stuff like that, right? I'm at a country concert. There's guitars being unplugged from amps and stuff like that. There's loud pops. There's small pyrotechnics and stuff like that. Plus, I'm in Las Vegas.
And you're in Las Vegas. Yeah.
Right.
So that could be coming from literally anywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, the venue is right there off of Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yeah.
So I heard the first gunshot, and apparently that first gunshot was directed at the fuel tanks at the airport.
Yeah.
Like, because apparently a 308 can go through 18 inches of concrete.
Yeah.
Well,
he had a 308, it's a larger caliber rifle that he was shooting at the fuel tanks. And he had used incendiary rounds. They believe that he was trying to cause a detonation to
Right.
blow up the fuel tanks.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
I was told in the debrief that he was doing that like once the crowd started moving that direction, like he was going to try to herd them that way and then blow up the tanks on them.
yeah, so like when I recall, that was the first gunshot I heard.
Yeah.
Was just
Well,
the
that makes a little
solo
more sense
gunshot.
with it being a 308, a little bit louder.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking around, nobody's panicking, just maybe it was a car backfired. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
So I'm walking back to where, again, like I said, at the time, my wife and our friends, and I'm walking back and I heard the first succession of rapid fire. I don't
Mhm.
say full auto because I know, whatever it was, bump fire, whatever, it was rapid fire.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, no, that was definitely gunshots,
Yeah.
right? But again, I'm kind of looking around. I don't see anybody running. I don't see anything. And again, oh, it's Las Vegas, right? Whatever. So as I actually get like right where we're all sitting, I heard the next succession of rapid gunfire,
Mhm.
and kind of looked down at my wife and our friends. They're like, "Hey, we need to go. Like, we need to get out of here." And of course, I'm still balancing the four
Yeah.
four beers,
You
right?
don't want to waste that.
Yeah. So
probably
shit,
spent-
that was $100
Yeah, I
right
was gonna say
there.
you probably spent $100
You know,
on that.
So I start trying to take some sips and stuff, and it was kind of weird because at that exact moment, I can clearly remember I started seeing people just walk,
Mhm.
right? Out of my peripheral vision, start walking from the stage. And they were still, cleanly dressed, some of them are shit faced, but they're still walking. And as I'm trying to consume some beers and get everybody up so we can start walking out of there, the next wave of people were at a little bit faster paced, and some of them were a little dirty, right? You can see like scuff marks on their knees, and their white shirts were dirty again,
Yeah.
and all those type of things. And I'm like, yeah, that just doesn't seem right. And then, in the meantime, you still hear all the gunfire. At that time,
Is the music playing at this time?
at that time, Jason Aldean stopped.
Okay.
It was like after the first or second round of
That volley.
rapid fire
Yeah.
Yeah.
is when he stopped. And that's why I'm like, hey, I told you we need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And it was like I said, it was that time I started seeing everybody just running like herded cattle, right? And all of a sudden you start seeing people covered in blood and those type of things. At which point I wasted my $100 when I dropped it on the ground.
Yeah.
And I grabbed my backpack.
Yeah.
And I picked my wife up off the ground and I told her, hey, you need to go. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? I was like, just go out of here. I'll call you. And pushed her that way, and I ran back towards the stage.
Yeah.
And as I'm running into the stage, I find this young lady. She's laying on the ground. She's bleeding profusely from her leg.
Yeah.
I grabbed my backpack, I pulled it down, and I opened it up because I usually carry a med kit. Well, unbeknownst to me, I forgot at that exact moment, right? Because you'd be complacent and you have your routines and stuff like that. That security didn't let me bring any of my medical gear with me inside of the venue. So I didn't have any tourniquets. I didn't have anything. And as I'm doing that, I felt something hit my leg. I didn't know what it was.
Something bit you?
Huh?
Something bit you?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And didn't really think anything of it, and I'm just kind of sitting there going, oh, what the fuck am I going to do now? So I guess I'll just take off my shirt and start trying to plug a wound. And my wife grabbed me and picked me up and drug me out of there. And so we started, running with the cattle. And remember when I was talking about the 8-foot chain link fence that was zip tied together? We got to the very north side of the property. And you said you were at a debrief. If you looked at it, I can't remember the name of the road. It's kind of like an S-shaped road that kind of goes behind, and there's a entry driveway. Well, I pushed that gate over, and we ran out, and I turned around. It was just me, my wife, and our two friends, and we turned around, and I saw 30,000 people just running right past where I was at, right? They
Yeah.
were so target fixated on one way in, one way out, right? That's the ticket booth that I came into, so that's the way I have to get out of there. So we ended up running.
So it wasn't hard to defeat the zip tied gates.
No, it
Yeah.
literally just,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, not even the anchors for the gates were
Okay.
anchored to the ground. They were just laying on the ground.
Really? So I
Yeah.
was wondering about that because like one way in, one way out, that keeps everybody contained for a long time. But it would have hypothetically not been that difficult to just push your way out from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly what we did is we just push the gate over.
Oh man.
So we ended up running over to Tropicana. That's not there anymore,
Mhm.
right? And everybody was running into the convention center. I said, no, we're not going in there, right? That's a death trap waiting for it. And as we're trying to run across streets, you know, obviously cars are speeding and slamming on brakes. You know, you see people loading people up in, you know, pickup beds and taking them to the hospitals and stuff. We ended up running, I guess it'd be eastbound on Flamingo. There used to be a Coco's restaurant there,
Mm-hmm.
and ran in there, and you know, I was already retired at the time, so I still had, you know, I had my retired badge. Ran in and I opened up the door and I yelled out for the manager, say, hey, you know, I'm a retired police officer. There was just a shooting at the concert. You know, we need to lock this place down. We don't know how many shooters there were. And so my wife was gathering people to come in, and we ended up having like 70 something people inside that restaurant. And the manager was so awesome. He was just, hey, this is your business, right? You take what you need to do here. He's like, all my cooks will make you guys free appetizers, provide everybody water and stuff like that. So we were able to actually lock it down. We completely destroyed that restaurant. I
Yeah.
mean, we all the tables and blocked over, you know, barricaded all the doors and stuff. And then I started asking, you know, hey, do I have any first responders here? And so we got there's a couple off-duty firefighters and stuff. We walked around everybody, make sure everybody was okay. We ended up having 12 gunshot victims there.
Oh, inside the restaurant?
Inside the restaurant. Everybody was superficial.
Yeah.
So no life-threatening wounds or anything, but, you know, there's med kits and stuff. So we were able to help kind of patch people up. And I called 911. And I said, hey, I know you guys are stupid busy, but this is who I am. This is where I'm at, and this is what I have, right?
Yeah.
And the dispatcher was just like, well, I'm glad you guys are safe. We don't have any resources to come to
Yeah.
you right now, right?
Yeah.
And mind you, this is about 10:15 at night,
Yeah.
10:20. And so sitting there, okay, well, you know, you got my phone number. When you have resources, I have 12 gunshot victims here,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't get a knock on the door of the restaurant until about 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
It was FBI agent knocked on the door, badged through the window. I badged him back. She's like, "Hey, is everybody doing okay here?" I was like, "Yeah, we're still just waiting for the ambulance. You know, I got 12 people in here." And he's like, "All right, well, don't know when they're going to get here. I just want to make sure that you guys weren't in any type of critical care situation right now."
Yeah.
And he left. We ended up getting the first ambulance there about just before 4 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, that was pretty crazy. I mean, the one thing about that entire incident that still kind of is a little traumatizing, right? You talk about lack of closure as a law enforcement officer, right? We go through a lot of dramatic things and on patrol and stuff like that, and we never really get the full closure
Yeah.
of an incident, right? There was a young lady there. She was 17 years old. I can't remember her name.
Mm.
I've done my best to try to find her by getting on all the Route 91 Facebook pages and stuff. But she was crying. She was by herself. Talking to her, and I was like, "Hey, where's your, you know, who were you here with?" And she's like, "Well, I was here with my mom." It was just your mom. She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, where's she at?" "I don't know."
Yeah.
"Well, you haven't been able to talk to her? Her phone's not working."
Yeah.
Okay. And she was a little shaken up, and I told her, "Hey, why don't you go over to the bathroom and clean yourself up a little bit? Make sure you're not injured or anything." And when she turned around and she started walking away, I saw two perfect bloody handprints on her back on that white shirt. And like apparently, like I said, when she came back out, she said, yeah, that was her mom pushing her away.
Oh wow.
And so, you know, it's kind of hard not knowing, you know, hey, did her mom survive? Did she get reconnected with her mom? Where is she at
Yeah.
now? You
Yeah.
know?
Where's she now?
But yeah, so we were there, got the first ambulance there. Finally, another FBI agent came over about 4 o'clock
Mhm.
and said, "Hey, you guys are free to go. Everything's secure, but you're not free to go. You have to go to Thomas Mack Center." right? Because that's where they had the debrief and
Yeah.
all the interviews and all that kind of stuff. And
He told you that, or
the FBI
everyone?
guy, yeah, he's like, we're not providing transportation, but everyone needs to go to the Thomas Mack Center. Well, from that Coco's, it was a 1.5 mile walk,
Yeah.
right? And so we walked over there, did a quick interview, wrote a written statement. About 6:45 in the morning, they finally said that, hey, if you're staying at Mandalay or if you're staying at Excalibur or Luxor, you can go back to your hotels. Okay, so fuck yeah, I'm tired, right? I've been up for almost 24 hours at this point, just experienced an extremely traumatic incident,
Yeah.
and so I walk out of Thomas Mack Center, and of course you have all the Ubers and Lyfts and stuff like that. Um, but when you got to the cars, they were like, "Oh, well, yeah, we're not live, right? We're not live on the Uber app or Lyft app, but we're charging $150 to go back to the strip.
Yeah.
It's a 2 mile drive."
Yeah.
Well, some people took advantage of that and they got into a Lyft or an Uber, and then they were dropped off 3 blocks from the strip because of the crime scene was locked down and everything. So they
Yeah.
were literally getting a mile and a half drive for $100,
Yeah.
right?
I wonder what would happen if they just didn't pay him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Price
Yeah.
gouge
You're
him like
going to
that.
price gouge me, and then
Like, all right, well, I mean, go call the cops and tell them that I'm defrauding an innkeeper right
yeah, I
now.
don't
Tell
think
me how
there's
that
going to
works
be
out for
anybody
you.
responding to this defrauding
Right.
an
Yeah.
innkeeper call.
Yeah.
Fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah, you can't even get an ambulance. It's like
Like-
you can't get an ambulance for a gunshot victim. You're probably not getting a.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so we started walking, and this young lady in a Subaru Outback. This is a pretty funny story about it. She's like, "Hey, if you guys want to ride to your hotel," we're like, "No, I ain't paying you $150 to go a mile." This and that. And she's like, "No, no, this is free, right?" Like, where are you guys staying? I was like, "Well, I'm staying at the Luxor. This couple here is staying here, New York, blah 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 blah." And so we got 7 people in a Subaru Outback wagon.
Nice.
And she drove us all around, got all the way out to 215 and went all the way around to avoid all the crime scenes and the lockdowns and shit like that. You want to talk about an eerie sight? I mean, imagine walking into a Las Vegas casino with absolutely 0 people on the casino floor.
Yeah.
That's pretty
weird.
good.
And so, got back in the hotel room, took a shower, tried to sleep, couldn't sleep, so just ended up driving home. But yeah, it was pretty nuts, man.
Dang. So you said you felt something bite you. So was it a gunshot graze wound, or
So
what was that?
it was when I was taking a shower, I noticed that I mean, it wasn't like, a full on gunshot wound. It was literally just a scrape. So I took a ricochet.
Yeah.
I found some metal jacketing, some
Mhm.
copper jacketing in
Oh,
my
wow.
calf.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, superficial. Didn't even realize it until I was
Mhm.
actually at the hotel and took a shower. So got a
Yeah.
little scratch.
Yeah, because you think about it, when you're shooting at from that angle, that high angle coming down, I mean, even if it's not directly hitting, every one of those rounds is going to continue to travel.
And
You know, I
fragment
mean, it's
out,
gonna
yeah.
frag, it's gonna lose velocity, it's gonna become less deadly, but it's still, I mean, even the ones that aren't direct hits, I mean, he's probably skipping hundreds of rounds into people.
Well, you think about it too. I mean, I don't know the exact ballistics on it and stuff, but if he's shooting at a 40-degree angle into the concrete,
Mhm.
right? If it was asphalt, so if the round is hitting at a 40-degree angle, if the asphalt doesn't absorb it and it actually ricochets out, all those rounds are floating about 20 degrees off the ground,
Yeah.
and they're just flying 8-9 inches off the ground wherever
Yeah.
they're going.
Yeah.
So
Probably a lot of calf injuries.
yeah, very low. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even when we were at the Coco's restaurant, there was one guy that got shot in the ear,
Uh-huh.
and everybody
Damn.
else had ankle or calf or knee
That's
injuries. So
Donald Trump luck right there.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, he was actually a firefighter
Yeah.
on vacation from Rhode Island.
Yeah, there was a lot of first responders there. We know a couple officers who were there at the
Country music festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a lot of cops, a lot of firefighters.
Yeah. So what happened with these perimeter fences? Do you know? Did a lot of them get pushed down, or was it?
To be honest, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know that I knocked that one perimeter fence over and nobody followed me.
Really?
So everybody was kind of taking cover under the bleachers, and then they were running back over to the security checkpoints where you come in. But I never saw one person follow me out.
Yeah. Dang. Did you see Dan Bazarian there?
No.
No.
Who?
Exactly.
Okay, okay, you didn't say his name right. I appreciate that.
I don't even know how to say it.
It's Bill Zarian.
What didn't I say that? Bill's there. I don't know. I just saw the video of him trying to get that deputy to give him a gun, and he's like flashing his like whatever. He's like, these are my creds. Give me a gun.
What
And
creds does he have?
it was like some paperwork that he had that said that he was some kind of law enforcement officer.
You know, it's crazy though. Like if you actually like look back at the incident and stuff like that, you know, one of the very few times I will ever say that it was probably a good thing they weren't letting guns. Like, you know, I've been to venues, concerts, and stuff like that as a law enforcement officer. Shit, even as a retired cop, that they allow me to carry, you know, in those venues. And this is the one that it was absolutely zero tolerance, even for you
Yeah.
know.
Well, there's nothing that it wouldn't do you any good
But
in
that's my
this.
point, right? In a situation like that, it's probably a good thing nobody had a gun because it
Yeah.
would have just caused even more chaos and confusion.
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, too, I don't you'll never catch me without mine, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't go anywhere without a gun. But yeah, I mean, you're getting shot at from 400 yards away from a guy on the 28th floor. Um, the whatever handgun you're carrying is not going to help you.
Right.
So, so yeah, yeah. Dang, that's scary, man. It's sketchy.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, it's you know, like I said, there's nothing that you know as a law enforcement officer and all the training and stuff that would ever prepare you for an incident like that, right?
mhm,
Um, you know, I've talked to a couple of the Las Vegas Metro guys because I've been to Vegas a few times since, you know, that were there, and they were just like, yeah, I mean, even they would say, you know, even as a law enforcement officer to get that radio call,
yeah,
right, is just mind blowing. And it was just, you know, that brown stuff hit that oscillating thing on the ceiling and nobody knew what the hell to do.
yeah. That that's the other thing is it took him a while to get to him. Ended up so um shoot, why am I not thinking of his name? The shooter doesn't matter. He ended up dying by suicide.
Right.
So he shot
Well, that's
himself
what they say.
with a handgun. Well, there was a negligent discharge also on the entry. I don't know if you knew about that. But yeah, it took him quite a while to get to him. It could have been much. My point is, it could have been much worse, but for some reason, he just got tired and stopped shooting, and then shot himself, killed himself.
Yeah,
And
it
he
could have
still
been
had,
much better too.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, of course, but he still had a ton of ammunition left, like
Right.
loaded in magazines and everything, and he could have shot a lot longer and a lot more than he ended up
Yeah,
shooting.
I think I remember seeing something like he only went through about like 10% of the ammo and
Yeah.
stuff that he
What was
had
it?
there.
How many
So
do you see how many rounds? I want to say it was 10,000 that he fired, approximately. That he fired about 10,000 rounds.
yeah, it was a
Hmm.
long time.
Yeah,
It
it sounded
was
like a lot of bullets, yeah.
yeah, it,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't like, you know, you heard one succession of rapid fire and the thing was done.
Uh-huh.
Like I remember when we were running out the gate, were still hearing, you know, even through all the commotion, you could still hear the gunshots going off.
Yeah. So, wow.
Mm.
So then,
No, he fired a total of 1,000 rounds, but I think he might have had
okay,
uh,
I'm sorry. I was,
much more than that. Maybe
I had,
he had like
he had a
10,000
bunch
rounds.
more, yeah. So he was firing, they like 100 round drums and he was bump firing. So he would just go through a 100 round drum and then change
Yeah.
and then do it again.
Yeah, and I mean there was a mix of 308s and like AR-10s, AR-15 platforms.
Yeah.
So
Hmm. Wow. All right. So then, so aside from, being a Route 91 survivor, being a police officer,
I didn't
firearms,
survive anything. I just helped people, bro.
yeah,
I
um,
I couldn't do much of that either.
yeah, being a police officer, uh, firearms instructor, gun sales. You're also in, what do we call it? The legal protection field.
Yeah, so like self-defense legal liability protection. Some
Yeah,
people will call it insurance, but depending on
yeah. It's not insurance.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it's
depending on the state you're in, it might be murder insurance,
yeah.
right? Washington, New York, New Jersey.
Yeah. What is that?
So
Tell us what that is.
So I'm with a company called Firearms Legal Protection.
Okay.
And we offer here in California, we're a prepaid legal service.
Mhm.
And we offer the legal liability. You know, we cover all the legal expenses and related to a self-defense incident. You know, here when you talk about getting involved in a self-defense situation, right? We talk about having three fights, right? You have the physical fight, the one that you need to survive, right? That's why a lot of people have their CCW permit, right?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of us officers we carry off duty or even when we're retired because we want to have that tool available to us to survive that first fight. But once we survive that first fight, what comes? Right, you have the legal fight, right,
Mhm.
and both the criminal side and the civil side.
Yep.
There's a common misconception. You know, self defense in of itself it's not really a crime
Mhm.
or not a crime. It's actually a legal justification to the criminal acts that you committed,
Yeah.
right? It's a justification for those acts. And we have to look at it as, I have to hold myself accountable for my actions, right? I know it's against the law for me to threaten somebody saying, "Hey, stop or I'll shoot you." Well, that's criminal threats,
Yes.
right? If I pull a gun out to stop somebody from attacking me, that's a brandishing,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm pointing a gun or another deadly weapon in a rude, angry, or threatening manner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then if I pull the trigger, now that's an attempt, right? So
Mhm.
now we have an assault with a deadly weapon. So, even in a self defense scenario, you still have to hold yourself accountable to those 3 criminal acts that you did.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that and you call 911 and you have diarrhea of the mouth and you're just starting to blah, 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 blah about how you just shot and killed somebody, you're biting yourself in the foot, right? So, Firearms Legal Protection, we come in and we help you with that fight in both criminal and civil. So, you know, the the common joke in the industry, right, is do you want the attorney you can afford or do you want the attorney you can't afford?
Yeah. Definitely with the one that the guy with the boat.
The guy with the boat,
The guy with
the
the boat.
yacht.
Yeah. The
No,
guy
no,
with the
I don't
yacht.
want a little Centurion ski
Yeah.
boat. I want a friggin' couple
Yeah.
$1 million yacht,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I want Alec Baldwin's attorney,
Yeah.
right? And that's who I want.
Mhm.
And one thing that makes Firearms Legal Protection stand out to some of the other competitors is the vetting process for our attorneys, right? They have to have a minimum of 5 years experience, trial experience with self-defense and firearm related laws.
Mhm.
Firearms Legal Protection doesn't negotiate with the attorneys as far as how much they're going to get paid. Some of our competitors will say, well, you charge $1,000 an hour in a specialized industry like this, but average median hourly rates for criminal defense is $150 an hour, so that's what we're going to pay you.
Yeah.
Right? FLP doesn't do that. We make sure that those attorneys have everything that they need. Right?
Mhm.
We're going to pay them full rate, so there's actually more incentive for them to do a good job for our clients.
Yeah.
So, and then once the criminal case is done, we come in and the same caliber of attorneys come in and represent you in a civil case. When we talk about being sued, it's not just little Johnny in the Walmart parking lot that we had to defend ourselves against. It's his family members, and even more so, everybody's got a cell phone, right? Everybody's a social media influencer,
Mhm.
right? What about that person that recorded the entire incident and is now having PTSD and suffering emotional distress 3 years down the road, and he's going to file emotional distress lawsuit against you,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, FLP is going to cover that too, and it
Okay.
doesn't matter if it's one lawsuit or 30; they're going to cover them all.
Mhm.
Um, and once you get through all that kind of stuff, then we start talking about that emotional mission, that mental emotional fight.
Yeah.
Just like we'll talk about Route 91, right?
Mhm.
For me to be able to survive that third fight, I love talking about it, and it's not because I'm bragging. It's I'm telling a story about all the other people that can't tell their stories anymore.
Yeah.
And if you require some professional counseling and stuff, Firearms Legal Protection is going to come help you out with that too. Once you get through all those 3 fights, what happens? Well, all of us as police officers know that when we put somebody's name in a police report, whether it be a witness, a suspect, or a victim, it never goes away,
Yeah.
right? And if law enforcement shows up, there's a body on the ground, you're the only one holding a gun, what are you going to be listed as?
Yeah. Suspect.
Yeah, you're the suspect, right? Because in today's day and age, the guy that attacked you is actually the victim because he's the one that had a rapid decompression of blood pressure,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So because of that, now you have a record that you were listed as a suspect in either an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, or even a homicide,
Yeah.
right? And even if everything gets cleared out, you don't get charges pressed against you or anything. What's the ramifications of having that on a record,
Mhm.
on an open to the public record? Right? You're not going to be able to apply for federal grants. You're not going to be able to get, some of the specialized, you know, what if I worked at a school?
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
now that's on my record, right? They're not going to hire me at a school. So FLP is actually going to come in and pay for the expungement of those records too. So you can go back
Okay.
and restore your life to where it was.
Makes sense. What about physical stuff? So if I'm involved in a self-defense incident and that I become injured in that, and I'm going to be some medical expenses associated with that,
So Firearms Legal Protection is for the legal
the legal
defense,
stuff.
the legal
Gotcha.
side of it, right? You know, we're gonna come in there and help with the legal fight of it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we're not fortunately and unfortunately, we're not an insurance product.
Yeah.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why we're allowed to keep our rates so low is we
Mhm.
don't offer that indemnity protection. But also think about this is if you have an insurance product, right? I can't go outside and burn my car down and then claim it on insurance, right?
Yeah.
It's a crime, right?
Yeah.
It's unlawful for you or for an insurance company to insure an unlawful act,
Mhm.
right?
That's why they call it insurance fraud.
That's why they call it insurance fraud. Absolutely,
Yeah.
right? So if you're involved in a self-defense situation, we already talked about holding yourself accountable to your criminal actions.
Uh,
If you're an insurance company or the self-defense legal protection that you've purchased that you hope will represent you as an insurance product, well, the moment that you hold yourself accountable to a criminal act, they can legally drop you and there's nothing you can do about it,
hmm
right? So I mean, to answer your question, yeah, we're going to cover all the legal expenses.
Yeah.
Depending on the level of membership, that could include your bail bond, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can include lost wages, that can include scene cleanup, all that type of stuff. We're going to come in there and help get that part of it back. So, hopefully you have, medical insurance for those medical
Yeah, of
things
course.
too. But yeah, unfortunately we live in a day and age where everybody's looking for a penny. And you need some type of things. It's like when you talk about these type of incidents, they're increasing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as a law enforcement officer, and I, you and I, like I said, we started about the same time, right? How many residential burglaries did you investigate versus an increase now in home invasions?
Oh yeah. I mean, the home invasions have gone way, way up. It used
Right.
to be, you'd only see that for like dope dealer houses getting
Yeah.
ripped off. But
Yeah.
And now
man,
it's every day there's a home invasion somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And that really kicked off around, 2020, 2021 when everybody was working from home.
yeah.
And so the home invasion stuff has really come up, and even in my own home, if I have to use force to defend myself,
Mhm.
right, it's a crime. I just have to hold myself accountable, and hopefully, um, justifiable homicide comes in, castle doctrine comes in and helps protect me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the last thing I want to be doing is a Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning, getting on Google trying to find an attorney that specializes in self-defense
Yeah.
law.
Yeah. I think too, the big thing for me is like even in a justifiable, shooting as a private citizen, like you can be justified all day to where the police aren't, or the law enforcement isn't going to put a case on you or charge you with a crime or arrest you, but like nothing's going to stop that person or that person's friends and associates from, like you said, filing a civil lawsuit against you and
Right.
suing you civilly. There's no protection for that.
Well, I
So,
mean, yeah, on the civilian side, you're right. There is none. But
Yeah.
what are we dealing with in law enforcement, right? We're dealing with getting that qualified immunity removed,
mhm.
right? There's some organizations out there that say that they're going to represent you on duty and
Mhm.
off duty.
Mhm.
But if you've violated any of your departmental policies, or there's a skepticism that you did that, they're not going to cover you,
Yeah.
right? Like some of the most popular legal defense funds for on-duty law enforcement is that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you violate a departmental policy, they're not going to cover you. So that's where, like I said, firearms legal protection comes in. Unfortunately, we don't cover on-duty incidents because you have those union
Yeah.
protections, but we're going to be able to cover your family members while you're at work where your LDF's not.
Gotcha. So how does this process work? So somebody, they sign up for the service, they pay their fee, and I'm a member, right? And I am out and someone tries to carjack me. I'm involved in a self-defense shooting. What are my steps? Like what steps do I take at that point?
Well, should I throw out the legal disclaimer? I'm not an attorney. This isn't legal advice bullshit, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yes, but I'm saying
Someone
if
here
I'm a
is an
member,
attorney.
if I have your service, right,
Right.
I'm paying my fee or whatever, and I have FLP representing me, I get involved in an incident. Like
So the
what
first
steps
thing
do I
that-
then take to contact the company?
Right. So the
and-
first thing we kind of look at is the situation currently a life-threatening situation? Right.
Okay.
If I'm at the Walmart parking lot and little Johnny, tries to rob me for my groceries, because I just spent $100 on milk, eggs, and bread,
Yeah.
right? And I have to use my gun to defend myself, and he runs away with no shots fired, right? Not really a life-threatening emergency at that point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So in that situation, we would definitely say, hey, give our emergency hotline a call. Get your attorney on the phone immediately, right?
Mhm.
Firearm Legal Protection's emergency hotline is answered by an attorney, so attorney-client privilege kicks in immediately. So anything you say can't be disclosed later on.
Yeah.
So you have an immediate filter right? As a matter of fact, some of our attorneys have actually taken it upon themselves to call the local law enforcement agency to report an incident for our member. So our member doesn't have diarrhea of the mouth and start saying shit they shouldn't say.
Gotcha.
Right. And then that starts that process. But if it is life-threatening emergency, like I actually fired my gun and there's my attacker is laying on the ground bleeding, right?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to call 911 first.
Mhm.
Now depending on what organizations or what CCW instructor or firearms instructor you have or what law enforcement officer you've talked to, they might tell you several things. I'm going to tell you this, and as well as I do, I mean, I was a dispatcher for 5 years, right? Before I came in as a law enforcement officer. I don't need to know the details. I mean, law enforcement officers, we want to know the details.
Mhm.
But if I were to dispatch you to a call, right, and I were going to say, hey, armed robbery, 13 shots fired, suspects a black male adult with, black shirt, black pants, whatever it is, this and this and that. I have 13 other people, what are you going to listen to? What, as a law enforcement officer, what do? We turn on the lights and sirens, our hair's on fire, we're doing 100 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone to try to get there. And the only thing that we've heard is what?
The
Gun,
description. Yeah, gun and the description.
gun, and maybe part of the description.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wearing all black.
Wearing all black.
Yeah.
Right. So as a dispatcher, yeah, it's kind of our job as a dispatcher to get on there and try to pull as much information. But what people don't understand is when you call 911, your phone call's being recorded, even on a
Yes.
business line. Now,
Mhm.
the difference with a 911 call is the moment you hit that green button on your cell phone, the phone call is being recorded. It doesn't have, the dispatcher themselves does not have to answer the phone for that phone call to be recorded. It's
Yeah.
being recorded as soon as that phone connects.
Oh, okay.
So if you start talking before the dispatcher opens up,
Mhm.
right, you can start saying things that are detrimental to your self-defense case, especially if you go, oh my God, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what we always tell people, is like, hey, if you call 911, keep your mouth shut. Wait till the dispatcher answers the phone. Right. As a matter of fact, have somebody else call 911 for you if that's possible, because they can provide their side of the story, and then you're still protected with your attorney, right? Your filter.
Yeah.
But if you're the one that actually has to make the phone call, what does dispatch need to know? What does a law enforcement officer need to know? Hey, my name is this, right? I'm
Yeah.
Matt Haywood. I'm at the corner of this intersection.
Mhm.
There was a shooting, right? I didn't say I shot somebody. I didn't say I was involved in this shooting. I didn't say anything to that effect. There was a shooting.
Mhm.
We need police, we need fire, and we need an ambulance, preferably 2 ambulances,
Yeah.
right? Why 2 ambulances? Well, one for the guy that's possibly on the ground injured, but one for me because I'm in shock, just like when I was at Route 91, right? I didn't realize I got shot. Did I need an ambulance at the time? No.
Yeah.
Okay. But what if you were the one injured, right? What if you're having a heart attack and you don't even know it because of the stress level and the adrenaline dumps, right? So get 2 ambulances, one for you, one for that person. The other bonus to that is, when can you interview somebody that's in a medical crisis as a law enforcement officer?
Good question.
When they're in stable condition.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, they have to be deemed stable,
Yeah.
right? You can get an initial statement, right? Do you
Yeah.
know what happened? Well, yeah, there were shots or whatever, but you can't get a detailed statement until they're out of a critical care.
yeah.
So when you're in an ambulance, you're getting critical care after a shooting incident. Most law enforcement officers aren't going to actually talk to you there because they want to get, paramedics want to get you to the hospital.
Yeah.
By the time you get to the hospital, then they're going to send a detective over there. And by the time the detective gets there, guess what? You already been on the phone with your attorney.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense.
Law enforcement, what do we get? We get 3 days. We get involved in the OIS, right? 3 days on the beach, like what we call it, right? 72 hours or 3 sleep cycles before we are required to provide a statement,
Mhm.
right? Civilians don't have that protection. So the best thing I can tell you is like what we always say is like, call 911, call FLP, and just shut up.
Yeah.
Right. Get that immediate filter on the phone. And unless you have that immediate filter, you're likely not to even know those laws and those rules, and when you're required to say something or not. One of the biggest things that we get, like kind of a contrast, or not contrast, but an opposition to having a product like this is, well, my cousin Vinny is an attorney, right? Cool. Well, does your cousin Vinny have specialized, you know, practice in regards to self-defense law, or is he just a divorce lawyer that's, barred in California? Which one do you want?
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to that question, right? Do you want cousin Vinny or do you want Alec Baldwin's attorney?
Yeah. So anyways, if I'm a member, FLP member, or I get involved in in a
Self-defense.
self-defense incident, reporting it to the police. If it's a life-threatening emergency, obviously, and you call 911, get the first responders rolling, and
Right.
then the next phone call is to FLP.
Correct.
So what does that look like? So is there there's a 24-hour hotline? I mean,
Yeah, so 24/7, 365 emergency hotline. I like to program it in my phone. You can actually look at my contacts right now. It says, "Oh shit," right? That's the actual contact.
yeah,
But not only the phone number, you yourself, the member doesn't actually have to be the one that calls.
okay,
So it could be a spouse, right? If you're unconscious, in the hospital, or you're in the backseat of a patrol car detained,
mhm,
right? Somebody else can call on your behalf. And not only that, but the Firearms Legal Protection has an app on your phone. If
okay,
you forget that you program the emergency hotline in your phone, you can open up the app. There's a big red button. You hit that, and it'll automatically connect you to that emergency hotline.
okay,
Again, like I said, that emergency hotline is actually answered by an attorney.
mhm,
And as soon as that immediate filter is in place, we dispatch a local attorney to your location, whether it be at the hospital, scene of the crime, or to the detective's office, right? You're actually going to have an attorney there immediately. Here in the state of California, we have 33 different law firms across the state of California that are partnered with us that have been vetted. So unless you're stuck in LA traffic, you're going to have an attorney with you within the next hour or so, hour and a half,
yeah,
Mhm.
about making that phone call. A lot of times in like major metropolitan areas like Los Angeles, that attorney's probably going to be there before the detectives show up on scene.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so then the notification goes, you guys will dispatch an attorney to the
Yeah.
scene, and then what happens next?
So firearms legal protection, we don't get involved in the incident after that. Once we get
Mhm.
you in contact with an attorney, the attorney-client privilege stays intact between you and the attorney, right? The only thing that we get from the attorney is an invoice, and we just pay it, no questions asked. Right?
Gotcha.
The only time that FLP will actually get involved in an attorney-client situation is when the client calls us and goes, "Hey, I want a different attorney." Right? Yeah, no worries, we'll get you a different one. Right? We've actually had incidents where a client, he was attorney shopping,
Mhm,
right? And we gave him a bunch of different attorneys, and nothing ever seemed to appease him,
mhm,
right? But we're still going to foot that bill
yeah,
because that's we're in the service industry. We're going to provide the best service to our members as possible. Um, but having said that, yeah, we don't get involved, right? Now, obviously, if say you're a member of Firearms Legal Protection, you get involved in a self-defense situation where somebody was chasing you with a knife, right? And you turn around and you shot your firearm and to defend yourself.
yeah,
Okay. We're going to get that attorney out to you immediately. We're going to start that whole legal process. Then your attorney contacts us 6 months down the road and goes, "Hey, some new details about the case came out.
yeah,
Travis was being chased by a guy with a knife, and Travis did shoot his gun at this guy. But what Travis didn't tell you is that he had just got done robbing that 7-Eleven store, and the guy
yeah,
chasing with a knife was the clerk."
yeah,
Right. Well, we're still going to cover you. But at that exact moment, when it's no longer a self-defense case, we're dropping everything, right?
yeah,
But we're not going to come back and sue you civilly. We're just going to eat the cost of all that because, again, you were a paying member,
mhm,
and we automatically assume that all of our members are actually upstanding, responsible persons, right? And actually
mhm,
going to be honest about a situation, right? But if it comes to find out that you were not truthful about a situation, we're just
yeah.
okay. No worries. We're
And
just
that was going to be my next question: is what is it that FLP does not cover? Yeah,
Yeah, so don't go rob a 7-Eleven store, right? Don't put a claymore at your front door and claim self-defense,
yeah.
right? Um,
So something that is an obvious criminal act is something that's not going to be covered by FLP.
yeah, so I mean, domestic violence situation, right?
Mhm,
Obviously, we have defensive situations with domestic violence, right? But those can be kind of taken on a case by case basis,
yeah,
right? Because a lot of times, and we all know that a lot of times domestic violence are kind of a mutual type thing that starts out.
mhm,
There are the exceptions out there. And then we also have like, yes, you can be at home consuming alcohol and still claim self-defense, and we're still going to cover you,
yeah,
right? Just don't be shit-faced drunk where you're just stumbling around the room, right? Make sure
mhm,
you can still, even if you have some alcohol in your system, make sure that you're still able to function,
mhm,
right? Because I mean, that kind of goes back to the whole, being a responsible gun owner type thing.
yeah,
But one thing that, a lot of people also look at firearms legal protection, they look at the name, right? What does the name say? Firearms, right? Yeah. Even though that's our name, we cover all legal weapons of opportunity, right? Fists, teeth, feet. You've watched too many John Wick movies, stab somebody in the neck with a pencil,
Yeah.
right? If it's a case of self-defense, you're covered, right?
Okay. So all self-defense cases, regardless of the means
Yes.
used in the
Legal weapon of
defense.
opportunity. Yep.
Okay.
Even if I'm a convicted felon,
Mhm.
right? And you and I are out and about and you get attacked and I see your gun drop on the ground, right? If I
Mhm.
pick that gun up, technically I'm a felon in possession of a firearm now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that's a legal weapon of opportunity for me to defend myself and you. We're going to cover that.
Right. So you can have you can have convicted felons as clients
Yeah.
because even though they can't legally possess a firearm,
Everybody has the right to self-defense at all
everyone's got the right
times.
to self-defense, obviously.
That even includes minors, right?
Yeah.
So we're one of the few companies out there that actually help cover your minor children, right? If you have minor children, 17 years and under, that live with you, they get involved in an incident at school, a
Mhm.
bullying incident, they have to defend themselves, right? We're going to come in and we're going to provide that legal protection for your kids too.
Nice. Hold on.
Which is why.
Why?
And then you gotta
Oh,
tell them.
we want to talk about how to find FLP.
Yeah. How
Yeah,
do they
we'll
find
cover
it? And what have we done?
We'll cover that. Well,
The cat's out of the bag. You might as well do it
that's
now.
right. Okay. Yeah. So this is why the podcast that Badges, Bullets, and Blunders are partnering with FLP. And if you'd like to get involved, if you'd like to get this service, there will be a link in our description for this video and the future videos.
Yes. And
Where do we specifically to go to find FLP? Do you have that pulled up, or just through our link?
yeah, we'll put it in the description, and then we'll put it like on Instagram and
Yeah.
all the other TikTok, and we'll put the link everywhere. But it is an affiliate link, so like in order to be transparent, we do make clicking on the link and getting us membership does financially support the podcast. So
Yeah. So
Yeah, absolutely. And because we have that partnership with you guys too, one, we're welcome, we love to have you guys as part of the family now.
Yeah.
But for all your listeners out there and your social media followers and stuff like that, we're giving them special rates. So our normal basic membership, which covers you just in the state of California for your legal expenses, is normally $16.95
Mhm.
a month, and then there's a $19.95 startup fee. Because we're partnering with you guys and you've let me bore you for the last hour and a half or so here.
No.
We're actually going to reduce that down to $10 a month, and we're also going to waive that startup fee.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, for $10 a month, right? That's less than a Starbucks latte and a freaking bagel there
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You can have the legal protection, right? That no caps, no limits.
Yeah.
If you want the bougie plan, which I like to call it, right, is our premium plan. It's $21.95 a month, right? And that covers all 50 states, not just California. It covers that bail bond coverage. It covers all of your expert witnesses, private investigators, the wage reimbursement, right? So you got to take time off of work. We're going to come in and help supplement your income for that. The scene cleanup. I mean, there's so many things, right? So many benefits. But $22 a month. Again, I can't even take my kids to McDonald's for $22 a
No.
month,
Hell,
right? And then if you have another adult inside your house, right? We got our premium family plan that covers you, another adult. It doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be a roommate, significant other, whoever, right? As long as it's not an adult child. We're going to get both of you covered, and any minor child that lives inside the home for $39 a month. That's less than an extra large pizza at Domino's, right?
Wow.
So you guys can skip eating out one time a month and have your entire family protected and guaranteed, right? I challenge anybody to compare us to some of our competitors, and I'll tell you this: Firearms Legal Protection is the only company you will never see a lawsuit by a previous member for dropping them or not covering them, because we will go out of our way to make sure we're providing that best service to our members.
Yeah. Nice. Cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I mean, in the law enforcement community, we kind of touched on it a little bit, right? A lot of law enforcement officers have, legal defense. Poor act's a big one
For
right?
themselves, yeah.
Yeah, for themselves, but it covers you on duty,
Mhm.
off duty incidents are on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Right. And your PORAC LDF does not cover your family or your kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Your wife's carrying a gun when she's taking the kids to the store. I mean,
Well, hell,
Yeah.
even a frying pan at home.
yeah, that too.
Right. Run some tweaker over in a car,
Mhm.
in defense because they're trying to grab your kids out of your car and you have to run them over. You're covered with us. At the end of the day, that's, one thing that, we strive for. As I said, everybody has the right to self-defense and everybody deserves to have that attorney they can afford, right? Because, you you were just involved in a self-defense incident to save your life. Why would you ruin your life after that?
Yeah.
Right. And that's where we come in to kind of step up. And, we're happy to partner with you guys. And for our law enforcement family out there, if you're off duty, you're covered. Right. If you're on duty, that's where we kind of rely on our unions and our LDF. But at the end of the day, when you're off duty, you're kind of on your own.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things that was like when I retired.
Mhm.
Right. When I retired out, I didn't even contemplate the fact that I'm no longer protected. I'm out here carrying a gun.
Yeah.
I don't have mandatory training anymore. I fall under HR 218, right? So I can just carry a gun as long as I qualify once every 5 years if I stay in the state of California, or once every 12 months if I go out of the state. But there's no training requirements.
Yeah.
What's going to protect me? I can't just call the, my union rep and go, hey, I just got involved in a shooting. Dude, you've been retired for 8 fucking years. What do you want us to do about
What
it?
do you want to do about it? Yeah.
Right. So, that's one of those things where this is a type of product and a service that most people don't realize.
Yep.
That is really a necessity.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, how many of us buy, have car insurance and we pay the extra $12 a month for underinsured coverage?
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Me, I do for
Every
sure.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every time.
100%.
or you're paying $19 a month for your insurance on your cell phone in case you drop it on the concrete.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a cell phone's going to cost you $1,000 to replace. Right.
Mhm.
A self-defense incident costs you upwards to $300,000-$400,000. I mean, in the bigger name cases, right, you're talking multi-million-dollar cases.
Yeah.
Right. And there's not a penny that comes out of your pocket as a member with FLP.
That's awesome, man. All right. Well, Nick, you got any other questions for Matt?
No. We're good.
Yeah.
We'll probably have him back.
For sure. Yeah, Matt.
Yeah,
you got
maybe
any-
we can talk about motorcycles and guns next time.
Oh yeah, we'll do motorcycles next time. All right. Well, Matt, thanks for coming out and talking to us.
I appreciate you guys, man. I'm glad to be here, and like I said, we're happy to have you as a family. And if anybody, any of your listeners wants to reach out to me directly,
Mhm.
right? They can, use you guys as affiliate link, or you guys can call me. I'll give you my phone number. It's not private, right? So 209-564-0332, or you could even email me. It's Haywood, MHAYWOOD at firearmslegal.com.
All right.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Stay frosty.